Hello everyone! Today we are trying to win this endgame with white and it is a bit of a different starting position because we're starting from a check. So we have to do something about that and we have a pawn and a knight and the pawn is one step away from promotion. So how can white still win this? It might seem very hopeless, but we actually have a winning line here and I want you to find it. Pause the video, see if you can find a way for white to win this, and then come back for the solution. Good luck. Okay, so what happens if we just play king to d7? Well, then black is just going to take the rook, and that also pins the pawn, and black will be able to sacrifice the rook for the pawn and force a draw, so that will not win. How about king to e5? Well, here black has rook to h1, and black is now threatening to play rook to e1 check, and again sacrificing the rook for the pawn. If we try with knight to f6 here, so that if black checks, we have knight to e4. Sure, that wins, but black will instead play rook to h8 here, because now the knight is moved away from h7, so the black rook can wait on h8 to sacrifice the rook for the pawn. And if we try to play knight d7 check, king c7, and then block the rook with knight to f8, well, then black here can play rook to h1 and again threaten rook to e1 and pick up the pawn. And if you try to promote another knight, it's creative, but two knights is not enough to win with, so that is not winning either. Okay, and how about king to d5 instead? Black will play rook to h5, and if we try with king to e4 here, then again black has rook to h1, and again the same idea of threatening rook to e1 and pick up the pawn. And if we instead just move down the king like this, and then play king to e2 here, black will just keep on checking, and even if we get to this side, black will just keep on checking. If we try to attack the rook, then black has now rook to e3, and black will take the pawn. If we just move the king up, well, there's no progress for white here. If we try to block with knight to g5, then now black can play rook to h8 and just sit there and wait. So there's just no progress for white. So that's a draw also. So what is the winning move then? Well, it is actually to sacrifice a knight. Knight to f6. And I'm gonna tell you what happens if black takes the knight. First, I'm just going to mention that if black plays rook to h8 here, then this time we can play knight to d7 check. And after the king moves, now we have knight to f8. And the difference here from last time is the white king is in d6 here. So if black plays rook to h1, well, there's no skewer for black. So we will win that with white. Okay, so what happens if black picks up the rook? Well, the difference here is that now we have forced the rook to the f-file. And, well, first of all, we can't play king to e5, because then again, black has this rook to f1, rook to e1 idea. So now we have to move down the king to d5, and black will keep on checking until we get to here, where we play king to e2, and that comes with attacking the rook. So black doesn't have rook to f2 check. It doesn't matter what black does here, we will promote in the next move, and Even though it is a queen versus rook, one of the toughest endgames out there, it is still a theoretical win for white, and white wins this. So let's take it from the beginning. The first move was to play knight to f6, forcing, well, not forcing, but if black takes the knight, then we now move the the rook to the f-file. And then we just move down the king all the way to e2, and then no matter what black does here, we will promote. If you found any of this, let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next chess puzzle. Have a nice day. Bye.